Oh, welcome back to Dumb Jocks. Previewing the South today, AFC and NFC. You want to take lead? What do you want to start with?
We'll start.
AFNA or NFSA?
I mean, I already had the AFC up, so I figure we
Oh, yeah, Africa?
Yeah.
All right. Worst to first. So we start with Texans. New quarterback under center.
New head coach.
New head coach. Very defensive-minded.
Yeah. A real head coach, I might add.
No, not one of the fake ones they've had since getting rid of
Not
Bill
one,
O'Brien.
not one of the head coaches they have to fire in 6 months. A real head coach this time.
We hope.
I hope.
Unless they ruin him.
I really hope not.
I have faith on this team.
I have faith in him. This roster, though, is not very good. I think it's going to be a scrappy team. I think they're going to
2 wins last year?
3 wins.
3 wins?
3.5, technically. They tied with the Colts in week 1.
I think they end up at like 5.
I think they'll end up with 4 or 5. But I think this is a team, we talk about it, 1 or 2 teams every year. This team's success is not measured in wins. It's if they go 0-17, but CJ Stroud looks good, I think they'll count this season as a win.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how they go. And like, as long as it looks like they have something to build on the offensive side of the ball, that's all they're really looking for. I think defensively, they'll figure some things out and stuff, but I think even if the defense is, unless it's out of this world, I don't think it's their big game changer on anything.
The big story in defense would be the trade up for Will Anderson Jr. in the draft. It's a move I heavily disagreed with. You're not a team in position to be trading future draft assets. You're a team with 15 holes on your roster that need to be filled. But, you know,
like
they ranked 27th in scoring defense, 30th in total defense last year. It really can't go anywhere but up.
Right. And I think, like, as much as you can say, like, yeah, they gave up draft capital and they have all these holes. I don't know, man. If you find a player that you believe in and know, I don't see why you don't go get them. They got the quarterback earlier in the draft, then went ahead and moved up right behind themselves, right? I think so.
Traded up the pick after
to them and got Will Anderson. So like I see the problem, but also, man, that team knew how to get JJ Watt going and had JJ Watt dominating for years. Yeah. Not that it led to wins or anything like that, but you know, like if you see that player and you know that guy can do it, I see why they went up and got him.
All right, Mike, I'm going to give you a trivia question.
4.
No.
Damn.
They won 3 games last year.
Oh, I was off by 1.
Name me all the teams they beat.
Tied the Colts. They beat the Jags, right?
They did beat the Jaguars.
That's the only one I really knew. Both AFC teams?
Both AFC teams.
I felt like I knew that. Did they beat Tennessee?
They did beat Tennessee.
Did they end up beating the Colts?
They did beat the Colts.
So they went ahead and just.
So they were 3-13-1, but 3-3 in the division.
I was gonna say 3-2-1.
3-2-1 in the division.
Yeah. Hey man, that's positively division wise, dude. That's goals. Goals.
Yeah.
Build off. You're speechless after that one.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. CJ Stroud was the number 2 pick in the draft. I mean, it's the closest to a quarterback they've had since Deshaun Watson 3 years ago.
I was going to say Deshaun
Although Davis Mills should get some respect. He was as good as you could be with that surrounding core.
Well, I think that's half their battle. It's not like looking at Brock Purdy, for instance. It's not like getting put in a team with so many weapons behind you and around you. No, man, you're going out there and you're supposed to make the team better.
he's swimming with sharks, you know. But they lose Brandon Cooks. John Mechie's back. He beat his cancer, so rooting for him. It's a team with a lot of holes, and I don't know that I expect anything from this team.
No, but that's my favorite part about the Texans.
You know, it's
like you shouldn't suck all the way to 0-17. You shouldn't be the worst team in the league. But you're gonna suck. But like, let's see you make some noise. They beat the Jags last year. I'm pretty sure that was later in the year.
Yes.
Like, give me some upsets. You know what I mean?
They were
I guess so. If it
team.
has to be the 3 division games of the ones that they win and upset people, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I think they're a team that you always count out of it. I feel like they're what the Lions used to be to us. The Lions have actually found their way of being good and looking like something and building something. As in, the Texans are still just nothing, man.
Here's my ask of them. I don't have their schedule offhand, but I can pull it up. What I want them to do is I want them to face a team fighting to get into the playoffs late in the season. I want them to beat them. Play spoiler.
Yeah, welcome to beating the Jags, Titans, or the Colts late in the year.
Titans were out of it at that point. Colts were competitive, and Jacksonville was already in the playoffs by default.
No, that's last year. I mean, this year coming up. That's where you're going to get some shit.
All right, late in the season, you got Browns week 16.
Because
Browns week 16, win that game. Keep Cleveland out of the playoffs. Other than that, you don't face anybody really close enough.
They did something to somebody last year. It might have been the Jags when they might have been in playoffs. But
was Tennessee out?
But I think they were trying to get
that win made it
they were trying to get
Tennessee
seedings.
a chance week 18, but
yeah, I think if Jags kept winning, they had a chance at being the one or some bullshit. Maybe not the one, but they had a chance at moving up standings wise that way. And I think that's where they played spoiler, which in that case too, that's where you play spoiler.
Yeah, be spoiler late in the season, have CJ Stroud look good, go in the next offseason, and start putting the team around him. That's all you can really say about this team. You got anything else to add?
No, I was trying to see when they beat the Colts last year. Or not the Colts, the Tennessee Titans.
Week 16.
That might have been it. The Titans were trying to squeeze in over the Jags.
Yeah.
Is one of the ones that it kind of – the Jags had also lost, but that was the chance they had. So, the ones they won were kind of the competitive games, and it's those ones where they're going into a division team and saying, no, you have to beat us. You have to go through us, and division games aren't easy.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go up a team to who came in third last year in the division.
Indianapolis Colts.
Another new quarterback. We got Anthony Richardson's going to be at the helm.
Anthony Richardson, that is correct. If I could pull up
Mr. Athletic Freak.
Maybe the freakiest athlete to ever play quarterback in NFL history, maybe? I don't think I've ever seen an athlete like him.
Well, I was going to say I agree, and I think it's because the past 5-6 years or so this position has become an athletic position. It is not the pocket passing position that we saw in the early 2000s and into the 2010s.
I want to say this is not meant in any way as a slight. People have compared him to Lamar Jackson. No. This is freakier than Lamar Jackson.
It's freakier and it's different.
This is freakier and it's freaky in different ways.
Yeah, I've heard people say, and I just don't. I can't connect that.
I think it's closer to what RG3 should have been than what Lamar Jackson is.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. Maybe more toward I don't think Cam was this kind of athlete or anything, but I think he's the one who possesses.
I think
the most frame and most look and can actually throw and run like Cam.
This is to me Josh Allen up to 11. Is the closest I can think of it. Because I don't think this is the arm of Mahomes. I think it's closer to Allen's arm than Mahomes. And I think it's closer to Allen's mobility than it is Lamar's.
Okay. I understand. So we just got to let him suck for a couple of years first, and then he'll figure it out. I
think this Colts team is going to be really a lot better than last year. I don't know that they're going to win a lot of games because if I recall correctly, they have a brutal schedule.
They're not easy, but they ended up with 4 wins last year, so I think they improve on that.
But I expect this to be a feisty team, another scrappy team here. I mean, Quentin Nelson's going to be a great lineman. The offensive line is not going to be as bad as it was last year.
I was going to say, last year it was funny watching a man literally blocking 2 to 3 guys on a play. That shit was crazy. I have a lot of hope for them. I think the defense is a little weak for them, but it's not like they don't have some playmakers there. I just don't think it's stout enough. I don't think it's what the league is like right now, especially with we went out. They have a brutal schedule, but just in general, they have to play Jacksonville Jaguars twice a year.
Jacksonville, they got Baltimore early in the season. They got Cleveland middle of the season. Who knows where they're at? They go to the Patriots. They have the Patriots
Germany.
in London,
Germany.
That's
Germany. Ooh, if I knew any German words.
They have a 3-game road trip of Tennessee, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh.
That's 2 losses at least.
Or home for the Steelers, and then at Atlanta. Who knows what Atlanta's going to be at that point? Spoiler, I think they're going to be good.
They're not there yet. They're next.
I do like next division. I like where this team's trending. I don't have a whole lot of expectations this year, but I definitely like the arc this team is on.
Yeah, I think right now the AFC South, the 2 Texans and Colts are both building. The team we're getting to next, the Tennessee Titans, I think are starting that process. And then Jacksonville's the team that's ready to go right now. They're the team that's in it to win it.
Yeah, let's go to those Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, still going to be Ryan Tannehill from stuff that I hear. I know they don't mind Malik Willis. From what I hear, it doesn't sound like Will Levis is going to be starting anytime soon.
This is maybe the most fascinating QB situation in the league because there's 3 guys. You're not particularly confident in any of them, but we know for sure one of them is going to start.
Well, I would tell you there's 3 guys.
Which one's going to start? Yeah, there's 3 guys.
There's one guy who is a starter in the NFL. Ryan Tannehill's a starter. He's not the guy who's going to win you a Super Bowl and bring you to a Super Bowl or anything near that, but he is a starter in this league.
They were the 30th ranked offense last year, the 28th scoring offense.
Oh yeah, dude! Tell me where they're rushing ranked because it was probably number 1 to 2. Probably
they
1 through 5.
Were the 11th ranked rushing offense.
29th fucking throwing.
30th ranked passing offense.
Probably behind the Texans.
That just doesn't say.
I know. That's just my guess. Just keep going.
They were the 14th scoring defense, 23rd defense in terms of yardage.
Well, so I think that just shows you, too. That's how that team's built. It's run heavy, defend, and hope you get out of the game.
This is not a stat I expected to see. They were the 32nd passing defense, and the number 1 rush defense.
Well, I can tell you,
so
today's league isn't going to help much.
This is
you can't stop a pass. Well, that's what I'm saying, too. I think, whoever, I don't know the person who's GMing it. I know Mike Vrabel's the coach.
I believe Vrabel. I know they fired GM midseason. I believe Vrabel is actually.
Well, that's why I was trying to figure out who it was. I remember he got fired, and I couldn't remember who got replaced or who got put there. So even if it is Mike Vrabel, I think he's I think they're, as bad as the trajectory might seem at times, when you're going to suck, that's how you build it. You don't let a team run on you. You don't let a team be able to stop your run. And you fight out every snap.
And let me just say, this is a team that has proven for the last 6 years. Don't sleep on this team.
No,
this is not the most talented team in the league, but you know what? This is not a team you sleep on.
And I think this is
a coach. This is a coach who is Mike Tomlin-esque at how he always gets the most out of his team. He always brings out the best in his players. Do not sleep on this team.
But
everybody's talking about the AFC North, the AFC East for having all the playoff teams. There's some wins on this team's schedule. There's several teams they face that I think they far outclass.
Yeah, and like you said, I think a lot of it has to do with the coaching. I think Mike Vrabel has them going every Sunday.
Yep,
I don't think there's a Sunday that they take off. You'll watch some other teams and you're like, what the hell are you doing? It looks like you're taking a day off on a Sunday when you only have to go play once a week.
This is not a team that gets blown out a lot, so
well, that's why I think that's how they make. That's what I'm saying. As bad as the team might look, the way they're constructed is to be okay.
Yep,
they're constructed to make you need to pass the ball, slow the game down on one end, and speed the game up on the other. They can sit there and kill the clock on you, give their defense to rest while they're running the ball down your throat. But then if you try to do that with a lead, they're stopping you from running it, and they're going to make you throw it, which in theory gives the other team better opportunity to score and all that because of how the league works now. But incompletion, clock stops, 3 and outs, you're getting ball back pretty quick. Like, they're built to suck. They're built to win close games. And they're not, like, they might be able to run away with a couple, but that's not really how they're built or how they play.
And also worth pointing out, this team was 8-9 last year. They started Josh Dobbs for, I believe, or they were 7-10 last year, excuse me. They started Josh Dobbs for 4 games. Former Steeler Josh Dobbs.
I was going to say, what are you coming at Josh Dobbs, dude?
There's a reason he was not on the team until the day before that game.
Nah, dude, Josh Dobbs, dude. I'd rather Duck Hodges, but I'll take Josh Dobbs.
I mean, I'd prefer Duck Hodges to most anybody ever.
Now the team is going to run away with it.
I wouldn't count out Tennessee just yet. Team that should run away with it.
Yeah, by running away, I mean I think they win the division by two wins, 2 games. And that still could put them at 11 and Tennessee at 9, making the playoffs. Like, that's where I have that.
The Jacksonville Jaguars were a bit of a surprise last year. They were 9-8.
Peaked a little early.
9-8. They got hot late. They were at one point last year. They were 2-6.
They started off very slow.
They went into their bye week at 3-7.
And then caught it.
And then after the bye, they were 1, 2, 3, 4. They were 6-2 after the bye. That should have been basic math.
I was going to say, I thought you were counting how many wins straight they had in a row.
They did have a 5-game win streak, 6-game win streak. If you count the playoff game, 6. But they ended the regular season with 5 straight wins.
Built right in. They went in.
They were the 10th passing offense, or 10th overall offense in both points and yards. 10th passing offense, 14th rushing offense, 12th scoring defense, 24th total defense.
Oh, and then they beat the Chargers in the playoffs. And
20 in one of the wildest games I've ever seen. 28th passing defense, 12th rushing defense.
I think they're right where they need to be. I think they're middle of the pack in just about everything. I don't look at them and say this is like the worst situation in the NFL for this position. They're very well rounded, but also there's not many players I look at and go best player in the league.
Yeah, it's in a way, it is the opposite of the Chiefs, where the Chiefs have an obvious strength at quarterback, at tight end, and then clear weaknesses in the middle of the defense. This team is in the 10th to 18th best situation at every position.
Yeah. And I think that's good for them. I think that's winnable. I think that's easily improvable. Like, I think I would put Trevor Lawrence as probably a top 10 quarterback or right around there. Yeah. And I think as time goes on, the next handful of years, he's just going to be going up that list, depending.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of the trajectory they're on. They get Calvin Ridley this year, give him more of a receiving threat.
I think Calvin Ridley is kind of being forgotten about here. I think people are forgetting how good he was with Atlanta for
I thought you were going the other way on me, and I got scared. I was about to say Calvin Ridley can really change this offense.
I drafted him in fantasy. That tells you what I think of him. I think Calvin Ridley is going to have a huge impact on this team, on this passing game. I think he's going to be, by the end of the season, consensusly agreed a top 15 receiver in the league, which I don't think he is right now.
I agree. I just also think he was basically that in Atlanta. Like, he was on the crisp. He was right there. He was at least a top 20 guy.
I feel like in Atlanta there was always the Julio problem.
Well, so that was other people, yeah. But I was like, he was outperforming the shit out of Julio.
I think at the end of this year we're going to look at that trade and then say, Atlanta got fleeced.
Yes, but also I think you take it for what was going on at the time. They weren't dealing with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, give or take. I know, what was it, just a first rounder? Was it even a first rounder?
I want to say it was like a fourth rounder.
Oh, see, I was going to say it might have been a second or third. I
do not recall.
I could be wrong. Because also, like, we sit here and say the same thing about the Browns-Texans trades, that the Browns gave up way too much. You know what I mean? But that's also like, if the guy goes out there and does stuff for you and wins, you're not really going to complain about what you gave up for him. And I think, like, the Falcons were just at the same spot there. Like, I think that happened all after they drafted Drake London. They had Kyle Pitts.
He was traded for a 4th and a conditional 5th-round pick.
Okay, 4th and independent.
Yeah,
so
two low picks, 2 relatively low picks.
I think you look at that and say that's almost nothing. But
yeah, you're not drafting a player in the 4th round, or you don't expect to draft a player in the 4th round who will impact your team the way Calvin Ridley is.
Right. But also, like, there's always some diamonds hidden in the rough in the NFL.
Absolutely, but you can't.
It's just a matter of, I think, for where they were and what they have on offense and stuff going on, I can see why they wanted the problem out of house. They didn't want to deal with the problem, which I was all on board for. I understood that prospect and that rationality very well for them. Giving to somebody else who will deal with it. And didn't seem to fuck with them last year too much.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, they got through the hard year. So
this is a team I expect to be in the playoffs. It's a team I expect to be very similar to what they were last year. Just can Trevor Lawrence continue to make strides, and can this offense improve? And this was a defense that for large portions of last season, especially the first half, I didn't trust on 3rd and 1. Can they get to be that defense this year?
I was going to say, can they make some – like, it's going to come down to your defense making key stops.
Yeah.
Getting the ball when you need it, keeping other teams off the field, and getting them off the field and getting the offense back to ball, like stuff like that. I think that's going to be a real big thing for their defense. I think that's probably one of the bigger things for their season is going to be getting the other team off the field and getting your offense back. I feel like it's going to be a huge thing for them.
Another thing worth noting about this team, they have Kansas City early on. They go to Buffalo this year. They go to Pittsburgh. They have the 49ers and the Titans back-to-back weeks, which is not going to be fun. They have the Bengals, the Browns, the Ravens back-to-back. They're going to drop at least one of those games, I would assume.
I think they lose Bengals, Niners, Chiefs, and then maybe the Bills. Probably the Bills. But then they'll also drop a game to fucking the Colts or somebody throughout the year.
I see a 10-win team here. I think they're gonna win this division. But I wouldn't bet on them over the Titans. I would not bet against Tennessee.
I just think they end up having a 1 to 2 game cushion all year against Tennessee at one point. I think there's going to be a moment, like even if they start off slow, I think there's going to be a moment at the halfway point where they're taking off and you're going to see Tennessee start declining.
I mean, Week 18, Jaguars at Titans. What is the chances that's an AFC South title game? I give it like a 40% chance.
I would say you're probably right around a third because they're going to be the only two competing for it. So it just depends if they can stay close enough to make it so that game matters. But, like, that game could also come down to the point of it might not matter for the AFC South, but the Jags could be playing for a 1 seed or for a bye.
Tennessee might be playing for a wild card berth.
Right. So it might not be for the South necessarily, but that still might come down as, like, a fucking playoff game with one team trying for seeding and the other team trying to squeak in.
I think a 40% chance that's for the division, and I'd give it like a 60% chance there's playoff implications of some kind.
Oh, I'd say that's at least 80. Yeah. That's definitely in that game. But that's how they made Week 18 nowadays. It's all division games.
All right, Mike, division MVP. Who you got? Oh, I feel like this is too obvious a pick.
I want to go with Calvin Ridley.
Oh, we don't have the same pick.
Who do you got?
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Offensive Player of the Year. I'll say it. I really want to go Anthony Richardson. I really do.
That's all right. It'll be Derrick Henry.
But Derrick Henry. Until further notice, it's Derrick Henry. Rookie of the Year. I'll give that to Richardson.
I'm hoping CJ Stroud shows a lot. So okay. I'll go with it.
And Breakout Player of the Year.
Can it be Calvin Ridley?
He's already been a Pro Bowler. I don't know if that's a breakout.
I just was kind of like comeback player of the year, like was gone for a year. So that's kind of how I was looking at it. So it was more of a question. I'll give you another name.
Okay.
You could give yours first.
I'll go with Treylon Burks.
That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. I was about to try and think Tennessee. That's a good one. I'm not even going to go towards them now. But that was a good one. Give me Alec Pierce.
I like that.
Alec Pierce on the Colts. I think he has potential to be a real good receiver, especially with what we're expecting out of that quarterback.
I like him. John Mechie would have been a good one. I think him and C.J. Stroud are going to have a dynamite connection.
I'm looking at Tank Dell in Houston more than that guy. All about Tanky.
Don't ever call him that again.
No?
Don't ever call him that.
What do you think about Tank Bigsby? Bisbee?
I don't know who that is.
Running back for the Jags behind Travis.
Oh, Bigsby.
Bigsby.
He's got a great name. I haven't watched much on him.
He looked nice in some of the preseasons.
All right, let's go to the NFC and a division that's just as interesting because
worst to first. Where do we start? Because 3 of them were tied.
I'm just going by draft order, so I decided Panthers first.
Panthers, no, that's fine. That's basically how it's decided. I just think it's funny that they were all the same records. It makes me laugh.
3 of these teams were tied at 7-10, as you just said. Carolina was actually technically second in the division, but I'm not fixing it at this point. Matt Rule got fired midseason, went 1-4. Steve Wilkes went 6-6 as head coach, which is the most impressive turnaround I've ever seen.
He was the Colts guy, right? No, where'd the Colts guy go, right? Oh, am I tripping?
I don't believe he went to.
No, who'd the Colts fire? Was that 2 years ago? Maybe I'm fucking a year off from what I'm thinking.
I don't even know where you.
The Colts fired a coach midseason, Frank Reich?
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
Carolina now. He's now their OC.
He's their OC?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. I'm sorry. Thinking out loud sometimes.
All right. It's all right. I know thinking's tough for you.
A lot of brain power.
I don't want to keep saying it, but I don't think this is a team that's measured by how many games they win. Well, Bryce Young show flashes.
I was going to say, I feel like you keep saying that, but it's also because you got to, we're just at a point where right now we're looking at the worst teams in the league, so it's a lot about their rookie quarterbacks looking good. You don't have your rookie quarterback and think, all right, Super Bowl, baby, haven't seen you play a snap yet.
It's a rookie QB. It's a move I actually didn't love. I don't love losing DJ Moore, a true alpha wide receiver. I think he's going to be a game changer.
I just think they had so much problems in that locker room with him. There was so much shit going on. I don't think it was DJ's fault. I just think there was a lot going on in that locker room, and he wasn't helping it, and they were just kind of getting to a point of, we need to reset everything here.
I don't have any expectations. Win 4 games, have Bryce Young look good for half the year, and I'll say it's a success. It's
feel like you have something to build off.
Feel like you have something to build on. Yeah,
somebody has to lose.
Yeah, and
it's that. My biggest thing with the Panthers is I know the Panthers as having one of the best defense in the NFL, and they're not that anymore.
Yeah, and there's not a game this season I'm looking at their schedule now, with the exception of the Texans. There was not a game I look at and say they are far better than the team they're facing.
I don't think they're far better than the Texans.
And even the Texans.
I would say better than, but I think using the word far is.
It depends on who hits the ground running first, more between Stroud
and how early do they play?
Week 8.
Oh, so just see who's in stride at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, they're coming off the bye. Oh, they should take care of that.
Coming off a bye.
They come off a bye and play the Texans. You should be able
to
come
off a bye, play the Texans and the Colts.
You should be able to handle all that. And then what, division game at Bucks?
No, then they get the Bears.
That's Bears. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then Cowboys, Titans, and then the Bucks.
I think that's a really good bye week for them. That should be a bye week that helps them, even if they've lost most of these games and have 2 wins at the beginning of the season.
Before
lose all those.
You before the bye, they open the season at Atlanta, New Orleans, at Seattle, Minnesota, at Detroit, at Miami.
I could see them losing all those.
They might go into that bye 0-6.
But I think that can even give them. I think they can come out of that bye winning 2 straight.
I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to say they're 3-3 going into the bye. I think there is a wide range of outcomes for this season.
So I'll give you 2 and 4. I don't know if I can see this. I don't know if I can see them getting all 3. I know you think the Vikings are going to suck, but I don't think they're beating them. I
don't think the Vikings are going to suck, but the law of averages, if that's a 1-score game, Vikings got to lose it this year. They were 10-0 in 1-score games last year.
Yeah.
The law of averages says they're going to lose some of them.
You know what people do? They break laws.
I don't think that's how
That's
this
Justin
law would
Jefferson's thing, dude.
I don't think
Just
that's how
out
this,
here ball. One
don't
game
you accuse
scores every
Justin
win.
Jefferson of anything?
Accuse him of stealing games.
He only broke the laws of physics. That doesn't count.
Man steals games.
That's true.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculousness?
Yeah.
All right, next team.
I want to go to the boring one. Saints.
Who gives a fuck?
I know, that's why I said
I'm
I wanted to
sorry.
get through the boring one.
I'm sorry. I don't care.
What do you mean? You don't want Derek? You don't want to go see Derek Carr out there?
I like Derek
Where
Carr.
are they? Where are you measuring their success?
Oh, I can pick me next year.
Yeah, all right.
I'm
So their
sorry.
success is how bad they actually are.
I like Derek Carr. He's not winning. This team's not winning anything. I'm sorry. I want to believe. I don't. I don't believe in the head coach. I don't believe in the quarterback. I don't believe in the defense.
I believe it's some of the defensive players.
I believe in Marshawn Lattimore. That's it. Cam Jordan hasn't really been the player we think of for about 4 seasons.
No, I agree. It's Marshawn Lattimore that I was thinking of when I said that. I think they probably have still a couple safeties out there. I'm trying to think of them.
Marcus Williams left. Is the Honey Badger still there, or did he retire?
Yeah, I don't think he retired. I don't know where else he would be, so I'm kind of at the point of, yes, he's still there.
I don't care.
Falcons?
Now you got me really excited.
That's why I wanted to get them out of the way. Like, they're just where they are, and they're an old middling team that needs to reset.
Do you know what the Saints are, Mike?
Say it.
Do you know what the Saints are?
Yeah, what?
The Saints are the Yankees with less
Yeah,
history.
I was fucking ready for that
The Saints
one.
are the Yankees with less history.
This team needs I should have guessed. I knew it.
This team needs a reset. That's all right. We'll talk about that another time. All right, let's talk about these Falcons, Mike. 14 months ago, I got a feeling in my gut about one team, Mike. Do you remember who that team was?
The Bears.
No. Tell the people who that team was.
The Lions. The Detroit Lions.
That was way too intense. I'm getting that feeling in my gut again about this Falcons team. I don't know what we need to call this, but it's right more often than not.
You just called it your gut.
God,
What do you want to call it?
I don't know.
I was hoping gut.
You're more creative than me.
No, gut's the good one. But I think they're going to have basically a brand new offense coming into town.
Yeah, I mean,
the rookie quarterback they drafted last year played or started 2, maybe 3 games.
I believe he only started the last 3.
Yeah.
2 of which they won.
And now they drafted Bijan Robinson top 10 for a running back. Like, I think they're going to try to abuse the shit out of that
I
guy.
think Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and Kyle Pitts might be the most underrated trio of weapons in the league. And I say that knowing 2 of them are running backs. And don't forget about Drake London.
Well, Drake London's out there. You still have Cordell Patterson on the roster, which he's definitely past his prime. But for the player and utility guy he is, he's a weapon.
His team has Chris Lindstrom, who might be the best guard in the league. Like, people need to learn this guy's
Does he
name.
play right guard?
He's right guard. I don't see
Then, yeah,
anybody talk about him.
He can be the best right guard.
I don't see anybody talk about this guy.
Dude,
This
some
dude-
good guards.
This dude belongs in the conversation with Zach Martin.
Well, I was gonna say, I think
that
he's the
highly of
right
him.
guard above him, and then the left guard, I still just Quentin Nelson is.
Oh, Quentin Nelson's the best left guard.
So, like, I think that just puts him as like the 2 guards, and then he's literally like, "Put me in, coach. I can kill this shit."
This team is going to run the shit out of the ball. This team is going to go heavy play action. I think this team.
I think they're going to be running around.
I think this team is going to surprise everybody. I will be shocked if this team doesn't win the division. I will be shocked.
I agree.
If they're
The
not
division's
in the playoffs.
absolute shit.
Also, I know their defense is usually awful. They brought in some guys, man. I mean,
No,
Jesse-
they're building it, and like
Yeah,
that's why
I
like
mean-
I'm hyped about them more than anybody else because like not only did they build their offense through the draft and everything, they now added guys known guys to your defense that are going to literally shore up the problems you had. They're going to, it's going to be really good. Like, I think they're at the point where they're making pushes for the next couple of years. Like, this is their window is what they feel like. I don't know how it's going to look with Desmond Ridder, but we already talk about all the different trades we look at. Kyle Murray might be out of Arizona. We look at that, him coming to the Falcons. What we now know about Trey Lance out there in the San Francisco area,
Trey Lance
he might end up being there. But I personally have faith in Desmond Ridder. So I'm not saying he has to go anywhere or nothing, because whoever's going to win you fucking football games should be your quarterback. That's how I feel about Taylor Heineke, Davis Mills at times. If they're going to be the guy who actually goes out there and puts on the show and gets you wins and gets you what you need, I don't know why he's not the guy you're starting.
They brought in Calais Campbell. They brought in Bud Dupree. They brought in Jesse Bates.
Get to a quarterback for the life of them.
They brought in Jesse Bates, who I think is the third best safety in the league, fourth at worst.
It's probably
fourth.
He's top 5.
He's definitely top 5. He's not.
There's some really good safeties.
He's not the range. He's not the range that Minkah Fitzpatrick has. He's not the run defender Derwin James is. But he's 80% of both. Him and Kevin Byard, to me, are 3 and 4.
No, yeah. Well,
the order is going to change based on the day of the week, but it's those two.
Well, I was going to say too, and it also depends on what Jamal Adams actually looks like. He still should be one of the best safeties in the league, but he got hurt and you haven't seen him.
I haven't seen him play recent enough.
So, I think he's the other one that fights with them to knock him down to 4, and then he's fighting for 4 and 5. So, I think that's just a little difference there.
They added Jeff Okudah from the Lions, a player just couldn't stay healthy, but looked really good when he was on the field.
No, as long as he stays on the field, he dominates.
They already have maybe one of the best corners in the league in A.J. Terrell.
Yeah.
This team has a lot trending in the right direction.
Well, so that's why I think they know that this is their time. With or without a quarterback, what they have set up, this is their time, because you ain't paying a quarterback, you can pay so much other shit right now. So while you got a quarterback on a rookie deal, you do everything you can to put everything around him.
And you know what? Week 1 and 2, Panthers, Packers. This team might be 2-0. And you know what? There's some games on this schedule. I don't think there's a big difference between them and Detroit. I think they're worse at Jacksonville, but I don't think that's a given for the Jaguars.
So I don't think it's I think your Detroit game, as early in the season as that is, that can have some major playoff implication down the road.
They don't face a team all season that I look at as that significantly outclasses them. The Jaguars in week 4 is the only team I look at and say you're definitely worse than them. Vikings in week 9 too.
And Vikings is, like you said, it's the one score thing, so you're going off law of averages.
At the Jets, week 13, we'll see what's going on.
That's possible to be outclassed or to outclass that opponent.
Yeah, it's
that is such
we're just
going to
see what's going on. Other than that, I mean, I said Panthers, Packers, Texans, Commanders, Bucks, Titans, Cardinals, Saints. You going to tell me they can't win 10 of those games?
No, I think I have them at 11.
I think when we did
that, they should be able to win 11 games.
I believe I had them at 11 wins too.
And just to think, the Bucks won their division last year with 8 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think this division is better than that this year, but
and every other team in that division had 7.
I'm going to be shocked if this team isn't in the playoffs. I'm going to be shocked if Desmond Ridder does not have a great season, and I'm going to be shocked if this team is 7-10. If this team is not showing progress, I'm going to be shocked.
Shook?
I'll be shook. Be shooken.
Shookened.
Shookened. All right, I guess we'll go to the team that won last year, the Bucks. This
Brand
is
new
another
quarterback.
team. Who the fuck cares? The most exciting thing this team did was move Tristan Wirfs to left tackle. I'm sorry. I like Baker. There's not a player in the league I'm rooting for more than him this year that's not on the Steelers. I can't get excited about this team.
No, they're in it to lose.
I just can't.
That's their objective right now. They're in it to lose it.
They have a head coach I don't believe in. I don't even know who the OC is now. They fired Leftwich.
I feel like the head coach took over OC with them.
Bowles was a DC.
I know what he was.
Who cares? I hope Baker is a great season, but I think this is another team that needs to reset.
No, and I think they already know they're resetting if you look at what they did and what they're doing. David Canales.
I'm not familiar with it.
Me neither. Spent the past 13 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
He helped organize 10 playoff appearances, 2 conference championships, and a Super Bowl title.
And he was also on the staff that threw it on the 1-yard line.
I didn't say it. Oh, John's not here. I'm allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. I don't say it when John's around because it gets him angry.
Well, that's why when you said I was waiting for a yell, and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
It's like when you look at a Steeler fan and say Jesse James.
The other one just said it to yourself.
Yeah, it's okay. I was prepared for that.
Because I mentally prepared
myself
for
for that.
But no, like you said, like I don't know. I'm more interested in this team of.
This is a middling team.
Oh, dude, they're just at a point where they're so old at the positions that they need to be younger at.
Yeah, I can't say it any better than that.
I know, dude. It sounded weird coming out of my mouth still, but like that's where like I kept coming to. Like there's the places that you have the younger players in, they have the older players in, and like I just go straight to receiver for their quick and easy one. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, lifetime Bucks. I wouldn't even be mad if they keep Mike Evans until he retires. Like I get it.
It's not a diss of Mike Evans. Mike Evans is going to go to the Hall of Fame. I absolutely respect the guy. Love the guy. I thought they were going to trade him.
What are you accomplishing still being there?
Yeah. You're not going to compete with or without him. Don't you want to get the pick in return for him?
Right. It's not like to them. It's not like they still have Brady sitting there.
I was convinced going into the offseason they were going to trade him to the Giants for a second-round pick. I was convinced that was going to happen.
Instead, they got Darren Waller.
Mike Evans would still have been a better move.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I didn't disagree with that. I was just telling you what they did.
That's all I got. You got anything else?
Nah, dude. Let's get some players out the way.
All right. Division MVP, Mike. Who you got?
Desmond Ritter. Yeah, Desmond Ritter.
Bijan Robinson, who's also getting my Rookie of the Year. Do I have to pick a different player for Rookie of the Year?
I was trying to keep them all separate if you got another name.
Oh, okay. I'll think of something.
Because rookie, let's give it to I don't really want to give it to him. I guess Bryce Young.
I guess that's where I gotta go.
Yeah, right. I was like, I don't really want to give it to him, but I can't really feel anywhere else.
Offensive Player of the Year. I'm gonna say Kyle Pitts. What'd you say?
Bijan.
Okay. I'll go Kyle Pitts.
I think Desmond looks better to be the MVP of it, but I think Bijan's the biggest help.
Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got?
They still got Vic, dude. Beasley. Is he gone? He's been gone for years, huh?
Yeah. I don't believe he left in 2018.
Give me Jeff Acuna, dude. If he plays every fucking week, bro, he can dominate as a corner.
I was going to say Brian Burns.
Not bad. What are you burning?
He's burning linemen. That's the end of the video.
Thank you all for joining us for the AFC and NFC South preview with Mike and Mike of Dumb Jocks. Enjoy your night.
Or don't, I don't care.
Especially football season. Enjoy that. That one you care about.
That one.